from the high 300s and access to incredible amenities that make Cottleville Trails one of the area's most sought-after communities. Or find the space you've been dreaming of at South Point Estates, where expansive 3+ acre home sites and top-rated Wentzville schools create the perfect setting for your custom dream home. Visit LombardoHomes.com to learn more about these exciting new communities.
America is turning 250 this year, and Circa Sports is celebrating by offering all users in Missouri $250. For everyone in Missouri, all you have to do is deposit $250 on your Circa Sports app, then play through that deposit. Once you do, Circa Sports will reward you with $250 right in your account. This is available for everyone in Missouri, new and existing users. Celebrate 250 years and find out more at circasports.com today. Must be 21 or older and in Missouri. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Welcome to Extra Innings, presented by Great Bar. Great Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs. And by Circa Sports. Circa Sports. Sports betting the way it should be. On the voice of the Cardinals, KMOX.
Cardinals get the 2-1 win against Cincinnati in Game 1 of a doubleheader. Welcome into the Circa Sports Extra Innings Show here on KMOX. My name's Matt Pauley. I'll be completely honest with you. This is going to be very quick because Bernie Miklasz is standing by, and he and I are going to do an extended Redbird Rush Hour before Rush Hour. We're going to lead you all the way into Game 2 pregame. So we're going to take care of our couple things here in the Extra Innings Show pretty quickly here. We'll take a break, and then Bernie will join me, and we got a lot of things to talk about. I think listening to Bernie is better than just listening to me solo. So we'll jump through all this, and then we'll get Bernie on coming up in just a moment or so. So the Cardinals get a good win. That's a good win. They score a couple runs early. They make them hold up. Now, if they lose this game, to be totally fair, if they lose this game, we're talking a lot about the 1 for 13 with runners in scoring position. That's not a good number. That is a bad number. But the pitching held up today in a big way. The bullpen was absolutely nails after Quinn Matthews gave you 4 innings, but he had to get out of there early because of the pitch count, and the Cardinals do end up winning at 2-1. Interestingly enough, it was just what they did in the first inning when it comes to the run scoring. Alec Burleson stepped up to the plate with an opportunity to drive in some runs in the first, and that's exactly what he did. And this is our cut of the game, sponsored by the Diamond Shop, thediamondshop.net.
The kick and the pitch. Burleson rips it down the right field line. That ball's going to the wall. Baez is going to score. Picking it up, Marte being waved around. Here comes Herrera. And the ball gets away from the second baseman, McLean, who was the cutoff man. The Cardinals have a 2-run double from Alec Burleson to open up the day-night doubleheader in Cincinnati.
There you go. That is our cut of the game, and it is sponsored by the Diamond Shop, thediamondshop.net. Who's on a Roll is sponsored by Circa Sports, sports betting the way it should be. I mentioned how good the bullpen was today. Riley O'Brien closes this thing out. It's another opportunity for us to just really put a spotlight on how good O'Brien has been. With today's appearance, he has now gone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. He has gone his last 10 outings without giving up a run. The last time he gave up a run was all the way back on July 20th, so he is just short of a month since giving up a run, and he has been really good, really, since the calendar turned to July. That's when you can look and see him being very, very good. His numbers since July, so July and August, he has a 1.17 ERA, and he is 10 of 11 in save opportunities. O'Brien has been awesome for the Cardinals, and it has been good to see. So he absolutely is on a roll. And By the Numbers is sponsored by Bank of Springfield. Bank boldly, bank with BOS, member FDIC. Very simply, let's look at the trend line right now for the Cardinals, because they are winning a lot of games. They have now won 5 of their last 6. Coming into this series, they have won 4 straight series: Yankees, Rockies, Phillies, Cubs, and now they open up this 5-gamer with a win today, and we'll see if they can win the second game of the Twin Bill. Overall, you look at where they're at right now in the wild card standings, and they are very much in this thing. They are within 3 games of the final wild card spot. Right now, the Phillies and Padres hold the final 2 wild card positions. They're 67 and 58. The Diamondbacks are 1 game back, and the Cardinals and Marlins each are 64 and 61, sitting 3 games back. And there's now a little bit of separation because the Pirates, they have fallen 6.5 back of wild card spot, 3.5 back of the Cardinals. Washington, Cincinnati, 7.5 back. So it really feels like the number of teams that are legitimately in wild card contention has started to drop just a bit. By the Number is sponsored by Bank of Springfield. Bank boldly, bank with BOS. Member FDIC. Don't go anywhere. Bernie Miklasz joins me in just a moment, and we'll get underway with kind of a different type of version of the Redbird Rush Hour. That is up next right here on KMOX.
The Diamond Shop, making St. Louis sparkle for over 100 years, offers a wide selection of engagement and wedding rings, fine jewelry, and watches to suit your style and budget. Visit us at 12 North Central Avenue or schedule a virtual appointment at thediamondshop.net.
When you own a business, there's no shortage of things you have to handle every day. Sometimes it can make you feel like a juggler in a 3-ring circus. At BOS, we're here to give you a hand. Whether it's reducing your exposure to check fraud, setting up direct deposit, or helping make credit card processing seamless, BOS is here for you, your employees, and your customers. Are you ready to stop juggling so many things? Then make the bold move and switch to BOS today. Visit bankwithbos.com. Member FDIC, equal housing lender, all loans subject to credit approval.
Every day starts the same way, and then it goes wherever it wants.
Life doesn't stop for Cardinals baseball. It just kind of runs alongside it. Dave Glover here from the Dave Glover Show. We're talking real life, real stuff, and yes, a lot of Cardinals along the way, because that's how fans actually live it. It's just like happy hour, man. We get together every day from 1 to 5. We have fun, we laugh, we commiserate, we complain. DGS 1 to 5.
The Dave Glover Show at 1, and then Cardinals baseball. News, traffic, and the latest on the Redbirds. This is the Redbird Rush Hour on KMOX.
Sponsored by Busey Bank. Building community with Busey Bank. Beyond the game. And by St. Luke's Hospital. St. Louis's #1 heart hospital.
100 years of...
And we do welcome you in. It is the Redbird Rush Hour right here on KMOX. My name's Matt Pauley. Great to have you with us today alongside of Bernie Miklasz. I'm Matt Pauley, and we're going to take you for the next about 25 minutes or so, leading you right into Game 2 pregame of the Cardinals and the Reds coming up. Bernie, great to be with you as always. We're on a little bit early today, but we get to just roll through without any breaks, and that's going to be fun. We got a lot to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, what a game. It was very, very frustrating early. I know I speak for the multitudes because the Cardinals could have basically just delivered the knockout blow, like 3 innings in, but they just couldn't get a hit with runners in scoring position. But my gosh, Quinn Matthews, do you want him to go more than 4 innings? Of course. But the lefty is nasty. And the other thing is, even when he gets himself jammed up with walks, he's got the poise to escape. And that's a important quality. I thought, not that this is a big revelation, Matt, but I thought the story of the game was just the incredible excellence of the St. Louis bullpen. 6 relievers just absolutely smothered that Cincinnati offense. Just phenomenal job.
And when you look at each guy, and each guy has a really interesting story this year, and that's what I love about covering baseball and talking about baseball. It's the stories, and it's the stories inside the stories. And when you specifically think about Gastelum and the changeup and being dominant at AAA and getting here and kind of being slow to start, but now he's been good lately. Graceffo having a bit of a breakout year, finding ways to get it done when the underlying numbers say he shouldn't be doing what he's doing. Soriano being the absolute revelation this year, running into a little bit of a wall here recently, but today finding it. Stanek had the bad first couple months of the season. When it goes bad for him, it looks really bad for him, but his numbers have been great. And then Riley O'Brien, who I talked about in the network postgame show a few moments ago, he all of a sudden basically hasn't given up a run in about a month and is 10 for his last 11 in save opportunities. I think each of these guys have contributed in a really unique and impactful way to the 2026 St. Louis Cardinals.
I'm with you on O'Brien. I was worried about him for a long time because things were a bit off the rails, but it wasn't just the ERA, and it was the swing and miss really went downhill, and the strikeout rate really kind of fell apart. But man, he's got that back. I mean, a strikeout the side today, but that's not. He's been doing stuff like that. I mean, he looks as good now as he did for most of April. And if the Cardinals are going to stay in this race and they're going to make a run at it, they're going to need him to be. It sounds terrible to say because no one should. We can't demand that anybody be perfect. But the way the season's played out, I mean, he pretty much has to be perfect when the Cardinals are in one of these low-scoring games that's very, very tight. Like he's got very little margin for error in a save opportunity. He was awesome today, listen, Matt, you probably have done the stats on this because you do all that great stuff on the postgame show. But real quick, Gastelum, he found it. He's absolutely found it. Now I know. I mean, my goodness, that changeup is a killer. Now that he's kind of got synced up with everything.
Yeah, this is a tiny sample size. I get it. You can have one bad outing and it completely knocks this out. But with today's appearance, that's 4 straight scoreless outings for Gastelum. And when we go in on those numbers a little bit, 5 1/3 innings over those 4 innings. Batting average against Bernie is .059, and he has 10 strikeouts and 1 walk. I think that will play.
I mean, again, I don't want to put too much pressure on the rookie and just expect this, right? But just think about, because we all know the bullpen has been a problem. Once Ollie Marmol and Dusty Blake when they can't use their frontline relievers and they sort of have to go to secondary relievers, a lot of times that's trouble. Just imagine what that means for this bullpen if he can continue what we have seen, which you just talked about in terms of the numbers. That would be a huge development in what's left of the season if the Cardinals can stay close in this thing.
And let's go back to O'Brien for just a second, because there's one more point I want to make on him.
Yep.
And it's my reminder that I give people way too often. Listen to what's being told to you, especially right now where there is as much transparency as we have ever seen from this organization. I believe, Bernie, it was maybe, I don't know, month and a half, 6 weeks, 8 weeks ago, somewhere in there, Ollie's doing one of the Tuesday conversations with you and Tom and Ranj, and you guys were talking about O'Brien and when he was down a little bit, and Ollie literally said, we know what's going on with them and we're going to fix it. It's a paraphrase, but that's basically there was no question in their mind that they knew exactly what was messing with O'Brien, and they were on a path to fix it. Now, he's not going to get real deep and explain exactly what the problem is, but when he said that, I found that to be interesting because, quite honestly, we don't hear that was an extreme version of we know exactly what's going on and we have all the confidence in the world that this is going to be fixed. And lo and behold, they told us what was going on and it worked out that way.
I also, to add to your point, that day I also very much appreciated Ollie Marmol's candor, because what he said, and I'm going to have to paraphrase, is he reminded us, I'm talking about the KMOX guys, and he reminded the fans or anyone listening that one of the things that is really, really huge to the season is Riley O'Brien is a guy that could be really, really, really important to the Cardinals for a long time. And that, yeah, he's having problems, but this isn't a guy, especially in this type of season, which the Cardinals were fully upfront about what kind of season it would be, as far as you stick with young players or inexperienced major league players, and you gotta find out as much as you can, because you got to determine, all right, who is going to make the cut going into the future. So anyway, what he said was, Riley O'Brien has got so much talent, but he's such an inexperienced closer, and some of these problems are to be expected. But this is not the kind of talent that you quit on. You just don't give up on talent like that. And you know what? Easy for me to roll, maybe roll my eyes or whatever. But he was absolutely right. 100% right what he said that day.
It's easy for me to be a prisoner of the moment. It happens a lot. I think
Yeah.
it's part of the human condition, but I may be as guilty as anybody at it. So let me raise my hand and I say I'm likely being a prisoner of the moment right now, and know that I am as I'm about to go down this pathway. But
what you want to send Joshua Baez down? No, I'm only kidding.
No.
I'm only kidding. Go ahead.
Almost the opposite.
I know. I'm only kidding. Bad joke.
We'll go back to the deadline and look at what they traded away and then what is happening with the roster right now. They trade away Lars Nootbaar. In many ways, Joshua Baez's single game against the Cubs is more production than they've gotten out of left field for the entire season. They trade away Dustin May. Now, I don't think the Cardinals have a guy that you feel super confident pitching game one of a postseason series. That was something that May had that you don't feel great on. But in terms of regular season, 162 games and pitchers that are going to keep you in games, they had dudes ready to step up. They've got Hunter Dobbins. They've got Quinn Matthews. The starting pitching has been darn good even since the May trade. So they're clearly able to survive that. They trade Joe Romero. They make kind of the backfilling move to go get Ferguson. But also, if you look at the overall bullpen numbers since the Romero trade, the bullpen has not been overly bad for the Cardinals. There's been moments. There was the Soriano decision that you and I talked about the other day. I'm not trying to lift this thing up as being more than what it is. But in many ways, I think when we only look at it from a regular season perspective, the Cardinals made these trades. They went and got 4 dudes who are all in the top 30 of their minor league system, and one guy who's a top 100 guy and a top 5 guy in the system. And it really feels like the team is still able to accomplish just as much this season as they were prior to the deadline.
Well, no doubt about it. I mean, we talked about this, I think, last week on one of the rush hours. The Cardinals, there were 6 different times of this season where they had a chance to win their 3rd consecutive series. And in the first 6 times they were there, a chance to win 3 in a row, they failed each time. They didn't get that 3rd series in a row. Well, not only have since the deadline, this has all happened since the passing of the deadline. Not only did they win 3 series in a row for the first time all season, but now it's 4 in a row, and they haven't won 4 series in a row since May of 2024. I mean, like 2.5 years ago. And if they win this series in Cincinnati, which means they only need to win 2 of the final 4, that would be 5 in a row for the first time since May of 2024. I mean, they took more players away from the roster, away from Ali, away from the coaches, away from the guys in the clubhouse. They took talent away for a good cause, worthy cause. And yet this team has actually gotten better, which does say something about the talent level and the potential of that talent level.
I also think some guys they didn't trade. If we were in a world right now where they would have traded Romero, Stanek, and O'Brien, I don't think we'd be having this conversation.
No,
I don't know how you survive that.
Right. No, absolutely. And listen, I think Baez has given them a big boost. I don't care that he's gone two games in a row without getting a hit. Today he hit 3 baseballs on the nose. They were clocked. One was clocked 106 miles an hour. 2 more were clocked 110, 111 miles an hour. And they ended up finding a glove. He smoked those pitches, right? But you can just tell, him coming up has fired that whole team up. There's just something about him that gets everyone going. And I think his addition is huge. And for a guy hitting the ball so hard 3 times in an 0 for game, and he did get on base and score the first run. I mean, I'm going to take those kinds of positives. I don't, I don't want to demand too much from him. He's a kid in the major leagues for the first time. But I'll give you a stat I threw out there yesterday. In the 30 games before his promotion, the left field spot in the Cardinals hit 2 home runs. 30 games. It's like 140 some at bats. 3 home runs in his first game. He outdid it. For the 1 month of home run production, he outdid it in his first major league game. He's special.
Yeah, he is. This is over the top being romantic about baseball. But that's fine.
Yeah.
The story of that day, the story of getting Blaze Jordan's cleats because they're both New Balance guys, and Brian Torres finding him a belt and finding him batting gloves. And then he talked about the bee that was buzzing around him for the entire game out in the outfield, but he knew it wasn't going to sting him. And he connected that to his dad, who had sadly passed away a number of years ago. And then he did what he did. I mean, are you kidding me? This is movie stuff that when
right.
All this stuff. I couldn't get enough of it.
I love it. I told Will Leach today, we recorded Seeing Red. I told Will Leach today, I said that whole Saturday, every bit of it had me basically acting like a blubbering idiot. I mean, I was actually getting tears and wiping my eyes, and it got to me emotionally because I thought it was so beautiful. And it kind of reminded me, sometimes, I've been doing this as long as I have. Sometimes you get a little grouchy, you get a little jaded, whatever. Sometimes, you just need to be slapped in the face by something that big to make you just remember and treasure and savor how much you love this game of baseball.
I want to be very clear. I am not comparing the two situations, but the story of him kind of getting dressed by the other guys in the clubhouse, it took me back. Bernie, I believe you wrote this, and if it wasn't you, you'll know it, and you can give credit where credit is due. But I believe you wrote this, and it's one of my favorite things that you ever wrote. When Darryl Kyle passed away, his kids were in the clubhouse, or a kid was in the clubhouse.
His one boy, the oldest boy,
was in the clubhouse, and it was moments before the game, and the team was around him getting him dressed. And when I heard that story, for some reason my brain went back to that story. And again, totally different, but just the idea of guys helping other guys get dressed. Like, I don't know, there was something about that I thought of that as well.
The only time, I'm glad you brought it up, maybe because it was something I wrote, and thank you very much. But I want to tell you something. There was only one time in my career that goes back, when I was talking about like major city sports writing, it goes back all the way to like 1980 in Baltimore, Maryland. The only time I've ever gotten choked up, like really choked up, where I had to turn away because I had tears coming down, was after that game. And they had won that game. It was a Saturday afternoon out there. And I remember Darryl Kyle's son, who's cute as could be, Matt Morris kind of adopted him and took care of him on that whole trip. And he looked up to Matt Morris, and he said, Matt, did my dad use this locker room too? And Matt Morris said, oh yeah. He was our guy. He was the man in here. Absolutely. And he said, Matt, where was my dad's locker? And then Matt Morris walked him over to where the locker was. And I just like, oh my gosh, I need 20 boxes of Kleenex. I've never been that moved in a major league or professional sports clubhouse in my life. And then Matt Morris took the little guy and helped him get dressed. Like, in other words, it was time to take the uniform off, time to put the street clothes on, get out of we're going to go to we're going to leave the ballpark, blah, blah, blah. We're going to go to dinner. And he was helping the kid get out of his cleats, helping him get out of his uniform, making sure that he put on his shirt right. He had his socks on right, and his shoes were on. I mean, come on, man. That's just like, come on, you're killing me with this. No, it was a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thing. It really was. Thank you.
I got to meet Sierra Kyle last homestand. She does stuff with Merck and tries to help people with heart health and just making sure that prevention of that. She's taken what happened to her dad and has made that her calling. And just it struck me when I saw her that day. Maybe that was I was thinking about it because the cows were in my mind because I just recently met Sierra. But it's amazing that him and his family still making an impact. And I mean, you still look out and you see the DK out there. It's something that is still very much a part of Cardinal baseball.
Yeah, and I feel bad because I couldn't remember his name, but as you were talking, I did remember his name, Cannon Kyle. And I wonder what he's doing today. He's probably, he's having a great life. I'm sure of it. He really is.
This is kind of an abbreviated edition of Redbird Rush Hour. It's a between games edition of Redbird Rush Hour. Cardinals and Reds are going to play Game 2 of the doubleheader. For those of you who are worried about the rain, well, it has evidently stopped. Tarp is off the field, so it looks like we should be good to go for an on-time start for Game number 2. Andre Palante and Rhett Lauder. And it's pretty remarkable, Bernie. We're at a point now where Andre Palante pitches. I don't know about you. I don't want to speak for anybody else, but I feel really confident that he's going to be able to go out there and have success, even in a place like Great American Ballpark. Palante's now kind of crossed over that threshold where I'm not like just petrified of what's going to happen when he takes the mound.
You know, I'm sorry to keep hearkening back to Seeing Red, but we were talking about this, Will Leach and myself, and we got a question from one of our regular listeners, viewers, and said, like, if the playoffs started today, let's have some fun. Play along with me. The guy said to me and Will, said, if you had to pick a Game 1 starter for a wild card round, who would you pick? And at first, I said McGreevy because he seems like the leader of that group. But if you go to, and again, I know there's more to life than StatCast, but if you go to StatCast and you see Andre Palante's stuff, all the categories, I'm like, damn, he's a lot better than maybe I even assumed he was. He's really, really good. Now, low strikeout total, yeah, but he's got about a 53% ground ball rate, and he knows how to make tough pitches. He is his breaking ball, off speed pitch, even his fastball. They're all rated very highly among major league pitchers. Palante's really, really good, and it's a lesson to all of us because, to be honest, I'm not going to be a phony. After last year, I was kind of like, all right, I'm done with this guy. No offense, but I'm done with this guy.
I called him a non-tender candidate.
Well, again, this is why we love baseball, right?
Yeah.
And again, I give Dusty Blake some credit because he has fixed some guys. You're not going to bat 1,000 fixing guys, but Palante he fixed. Look at what he's done with Kyle Leahy, converting him into a starter. That was a project. Look what they did for Dustin May to make him better. Look at what they did with Michael McGreevy. They did some things with him to help him sort of overcome some of his limitations. I mean, they're really good at making guys better. Again, I repeat, not going to happen with every guy. Libator is still very much but you never know because they've pulled this off before.
The only scary thing is when you don't, guys with not a ton of swing and miss, Andre Palante can go out tonight, be just as good as he is any other night, but the baseball gods say, you know what, all these ground balls are going to be hit where nobody is, and all of a sudden you look at the box score and you think he had a bad night, and he actually didn't. That's the only, and that's what scares you about guys like him in the postseason. Because that is going to happen. You have a ground ball guy, that's going to happen, a handful of times a year. But it's not like you got a ton of strikeout with Kyle Leahy or Michael McGreevy either. So that's why we talked earlier about Dustin May was the a candidate to be your first starter if you were in the playoffs.
And I want to throw this in too because I'm just determined to talk this rotation up. So after today, they're still number 10 among the 30 teams in starting pitcher ERA for the entire season. They're 9th in fielding independent or ERA the entire season. They are have the 3rd lowest home run rate allowed. They're tied for 10th in quality starts. They're 10th in win probability added. But listen, they were not good in March, April. Since May the 1st, this includes today, the St. Louis Cardinals starting rotation ranks number 6 among 30 teams in ERA, number 3 in fielding independent ERA, tied for 7th in quality starts, and they have the lowest home run rate allowed in Major League Baseball. This is a really good rotation. Okay, they don't have the blow you away strikeout stuff, but everything else is outstanding. So it's time that we recognize them for the quality that they are consistently providing.
And they stay healthy. The Cubs, the Cubs might be leading the division right now, and they may be leading the division by a bunch if they would have just had a healthy rotation this year. If a lot of teams in baseball did not have a single starting pitcher miss a start this year, I mean, that could add 5 wins to what you're doing, because it has the trickle-down effect to the bullpen. It does a lot of things. So that's just as much a part of it, that these guys take the ball every 5th or 6th day.
And listen, it's kind of a thin line there. And I really get it. I really, really do get it when there are times when Ollie Marmol, like every manager, will take a starter out and everyone's like, oh, what is he doing? The guy was pitching good. Why don't they try to get an extra inning? And again, I want to preface this by saying I'm not ripping anybody who would say that after some of these situations. But the trade-off is that they have kept everyone healthy. And what that means is, the flip side is, if they kept pushing guys extra inning here, extra inning there, extra, I guarantee you there would have been a couple guys, maybe more than a couple, on the injured list. Mm-hmm. That's the trade-off. To me, it's worth it. Because you know what? Since the start of May, they rank like 10th in the league in the majors in innings pitched. It's not like they fail to provide innings. They're actually a little better than the league average when it comes to that. So it's baseball's changed. We can't make it 1968 again. But by today's standards, this rotation does fine with innings pitched.
We'll see what it looks like tonight. Again, the bullpen was used heavily for 5 innings in the first game because Quinn Matthews only gave you 4. And we only have about 30 seconds left. I'll say this.
I'll be quiet.
A lot of teams bring a relief pitcher up for a doubleheader, and it's a bullpen game. So if you kind of view it through that spectrum, Matthews giving you 4 innings isn't any worse than that. Bernie, great stuff. Thank you. It was fun to hang out between games. Enjoy this second game, and we'll talk to you as the week goes along here at KMOX.
All right, Matt. Am I going to be listening to you after the game?
I'll be there. All
right. I'll be there too. See you, buddy.
Very good. That's Bernie Miklasz. We got about 15 seconds here on this edition of Redbird Rush Hour. Then I'll break for about 5 minutes, and then we will get underway with game number 2 pregame. It is the Cardinals and the Reds, and the second game of the doubleheader. Our coverage begins next here on KMOX.
Aging control systems can increase downtime and cybersecurity risk, especially in operations that run